Sam Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make Do It To It by Acraze featuring Cherish. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this is one of my favorite tracks that came out this year. It is basically a remix of a song that came out back in 2006. It was called Do It To It, and it was released by this girl R&B group named Cherish. And then this producer named Acraze, he remixed it, put his own spin on it, and was able to release it on his own. He probably got the rights from them to be able to release it as his own version. And this has just been blowing up like crazy on TikTok. I've heard so many different producers playing it out at festivals, and that's just because it's a really great remix. It's a really great version of the track. So let me show you how I remade it, and I will also be sharing a Ableton live session, so you can download this after you watch the video and you can see how I remade it. So let me play you my version, and I'm going to play a very small sample of the version I made with just the acapella, and I'm going to see if I can get away with playing this without getting a copyright strike, and if not, then this will be muted for you. So I'm just going to play a very small sample. Okay, that's with the acapella, and let me just go ahead and play the full drop version because I made the drop of this track. I think that's the most important part. So I'm just going to show you how to make this drop, and I'll play you the instrumental of this drop. So that's the basic groove of this drop, and let's go ahead and go through it. It's very minimal. What really drives this whole track is the acapella itself, because the acapella is slowed down a bunch, but has this really nice bounce to it. So for the actual instruments in this track, it's just going to be bass and some strings, and then you just have the drums. So let me go ahead and go through the drums here. Let's start with the kick. I just use a 909 kick. I just found a basic 909 kick from a 909 pack. And then I just added some parallel compression to that. This is the kick. And then there's some percussion here that I added that goes on through the second half of the drop. And then there's this really cool fill, and I tried to remake this as best as I could, but let's go ahead and listen to this fill here. Kind of like that, and in the track. And then I almost hear this white noise that happens right at the beginning of the drop, and then also the second section of the drop. So I just added this sample here. It's a white noise sample with a bit of a crash sound in it, and then chopped it off there. So that adds a bit of a white noise intro to the drop, like that. And then for the second part. And then I have this effects sweep that happens at the end of the drop. And what I like to do is I like to take an auto pan here and then take a macro and assign the macro to the amount and rate. And then what I can do is actually automate that so that the speed of the panning increases as you increase this macro. Like that. And after that, we have the claps, and I layered the claps. This second one is going to be the main one. I added some overdrive and then this EQ8 to cut off some of the high end because I feel like the claps have this vintage vibe. They don't really have a lot of high end in them. And this is going to be the first clap. And this is the second clap. And then with both of those claps together, and then I layered the hats here. He's probably using some top loops for his hi-hats, but I tried to layer them individually just so that I could get them as closely as possible to his version. So this is going to be the 909 open hat. Just some overdrive on there. Then this is going to be a closed hat with a delay on it to give the Haas effect. And here's another closed hat. And then there's a 16th hat here. That's playing 16th notes, and then I sidechain it with kick. And then after that, I have this other open hat that happens every couple of beats. This open hat that I pan to the right. So let's check out the hats all together. So those are all the hats. And now let's go ahead and check out the drums together. In this effects sweep, let's go ahead and rename that and move it out of the drums because it's not really drum. Let's close the drums there and let's go on to the strings here. These strings are very quiet in the background. And it's just that one note string sound that adds tension to the track. And then of course we've got the groovy bass here. So let's go ahead and check out the bass. And that's all the bass is doing. And let me just solo the bass along with the kick. So that adds a really nice groove to the track. And then you have all of those vocals. That acapella has a lot of vocals in it and the nice bounce to it. So that is part of what makes this track so cool. So this bass sound is actually going to be an 808 kick sound that I pulled from my Serum preset pack, my Volume 1 preset pack. And you can actually grab both Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'll put a link down below for you to check that out. And that is just going to be a kick noise layered on top of almost like a sine wave, a distorted sine wave type of oscillator, and then not oscillator, but wavetable. And then on the effects, I have some distortion, some compression, and EQ. So that's really what that bass sound is. So I basically thought it was just like an 808 sound. You can use whatever 808 sound that you have. So I'm sure that everybody has so many different 808s, and you can replicate this type of bounce by using the 808 bass in this house style of track. And then I added some overdrive, some EQ, just rolling off some of that low end to make room for the kick, and then some around 230 hertz for the mud. And then of course I have to sidechain it with that kick. And that really does it for this track. And I'll put a link in the video description for you to grab this Ableton Live session, and you can see how I made it. And you can grab and steal some of these samples, and then you can listen to it with the acapella. So what he did for the acapella also is that he took a altar boy or possibly some other way to formant shift it, and then he shifted the formant. I found that shifting the formant with an altar boy about -3 made the vocals sound like how they sound in the actual track that he made, but not the pitch. The pitch is the same. So you can grab this session down below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please consider subscribing if you are not yet subscribed. And finally, if you are truly looking to improve your mixing skills, then check out my Modern Mix Academy. This is a full all-in mixing course that I created that will help you make some of the best records of your life from the comfort of your own home. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.